if someone has access to your thermostat, they know when you're in and out of the house potentially.
Yeah.
So that's not just a threat in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of your data could be stolen. It could be a real life danger. Welcome to the Security Shack podcast. Every episode, we rate a different energy drink out of 10 to try and determine which is the very best for keeping our cybersecurity experts going, while discussing the latest news, the biggest topics, and the most important questions relating to cybersecurity. So crack open a can of something cold, caffeinated, and carbonated, and join us for today's topic. We'll start off with a drink, as we always do. Do you like energy drinks? Do you drink a lot of...
No, not really.
Yeah, me neither.
I drink a lot of coffee, so having an energy drink on top of that, I don't think would be really good.
I think everyone I've asked so far, we've had one energy drink person, and everyone else has been coffee.
Yeah.
Myself included. So yeah, this is not ideal, but this is the format. So this is what we must do. This is the
Bottoms up.
mango loco. Yeah. Cheers. There we go. Wow.
Yeah.
This is the one that Archie said was his favourite, I believe.
Yeah.
Archie, who's also on Alistair's team.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, and I can understand why he bounces up and down all over the place.
Yeah. Definitely get us through the next sort of 10 minutes or so.
And hopefully.
So today's topic, we're going to be looking at IoT devices or Internet of Things. I think because for a lot of people, they're not seen as a vulnerability. So could you explain for people watching who might not know what IoT stands for, what it means?
Yeah, so IoT means Internet of Things. Usually it's small little devices like Raspberry Pis or something that's usually controlling things like thermostats or alarms even, or you find them a lot in hospitals and things. They control a lot of analytic stuff, so they're reading your heart rate and all that kind of stuff. They're actually, as much as they are overlooked, they are probably one of the most vulnerable devices that you can have on your network. And yeah, they're not very well programmed. They're usually programmed around a function, not so much a security side.
Yeah.
So a lot of their login detail or their accounts and things that are loaded up are very basic. So you'll have things like usernames as admin or admin123 or admin blank or something like that, which can create, if you overlook that, can create a very big security hole in your network. A lot of the other side to it is they're not very well maintained. So their firmware is not always up to date. If they've got other protocols or services that you can use on them, they're not well maintained. So all those areas of an IoT device become quite insecure.
For me, because I don't know this, what's a Raspberry Pi?
So a Raspberry Pi is a controller board. It's a very basic PCB board. So it's usually loaded with some kind of very low-end operating system or like a shell of an operating system. Usually things like operating systems like Linux or Unix or something like that. And from that you can build out circuitries and things that will either wire into an alarm system, so you can control the alarm system through the Raspberry Pi, or get network access to the alarm system through the Raspberry Pi.
Okay.
That's the simplest way. I mean, you could do all kinds of things. You could load other programs onto it that will pull reports or give you some kind of analytic background into what is going on with that system. So that's exactly what they're used for. You can wire in your alarm systems or sprinkler systems. You can even, if you really have the time and patience, you can wire up your lawnmower even if you wanted to. So I mean, they're used for basic things like that.
That's good to know. I didn't know that.
On a daily basis. So I mean, even solar systems have IoT devices, and that's how you can pull your stats down into a mobile application that sits on your phone.
It is crazy because you went over some of them there. The amount of devices that we use every day that we own that are connected to networks,
Yeah.
but we don't even think about it. I think example that I've heard before is stuff like electronic fridges
Yeah, that's
or
basically
your
it.
thermostat system. And the way they can be vulnerable can really range. If someone has access to your thermostat, they know when you're in and out of the house potentially.
Yeah,
So that's not just a threat in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of your data could be stolen
yeah,
and your bank accounts could be at risk, because a lot of these things are linked to sort of subscriptions, if it's like a smartwatch or something like that.
yeah.
But it could be a real life danger.
Yeah, the other side of it is a lot of these programs or operating systems you can load on to these devices are they in themselves are a security risk, because you can go and download a program or something from GitHub that is tailor-made by someone or written by someone, which might have malicious intent. So I mean, you're just going to go look at automating your lawnmower, for example, and downloading the latest GitHub repository of a program that could do that. And you put this onto your Raspberry Pi, and then you load that Raspberry, or you connect that Raspberry Pi to your network, and then all of a sudden you've got all these holes in your network. So yeah, they are a high risk device.
Your standard PC, computer, whatever, with your phone, security is such a priority, but these devices are very much not security first. It's not where our policy is. Security should be at the base of everything that we do.
Yeah.
Across our services that Landlord offer, but just for users in general, security is so vital. So what would you recommend to people who have got these devices in their homes, who maybe don't have any protection on it as it stands, or in their businesses as well?
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
Well, there's quite a lot of basic things a person can do. One is making sure that you change. So if the operating system or program that you're loading onto the IoT device has a login or some form of authentication, that the passwords are changed. And if there's something like 2FA or MFA facility or feature that is included in the software, is to enable things like that, even having recovery email addresses or something that will alert you if the account has been compromised. Software patching, so if you have multiple different programs that can run on these systems, is to software patch them as much as possible. The other side of it is actually patching the hardware, or what they call OS hardening, is by updating and keeping the drivers and firmware for whatever you're utilizing the device for is kept up to date. If you don't do that, you create a lot of backdoors into those devices. Yeah.
It's come up a lot on these podcasts before, but layered security and updates, sort of first opportunity to update. I was saying, you told me off the other day for not resetting my computer and letting those updates go through, which I'm trying to get better at. I think we all have moments like that, but it's so important, because it's like if there's a vaccine for something that you haven't taken, it's like you're vulnerable to that thing.
Exactly.
And it's there, and it's essential, and without it,
your devices become a high risk.
So with all that being said, we'll head back to the drink and do our final rating before we sign off. What do we think?
Definitely not drinking this again.
No, I'm kind of torn, because yes, it is very sugary.
I think if you put the right amount of tequila and vodka in here, you could get away with that.
I mean, it's the sort of thing, when I was a lot younger, I think I would have used as a mixer, but I can't handle that today.
It gives you like this weird, like, foam in your mouth.
It's chemicals.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Chemicals, yeah.
I do quite like this one. What would you rate it out of 10 if you had to?
I'd give it it's quite sweet and sugary, so I'd give it about a 7.
Oh.
If I had to drink quite often, I'd give it about a 7.
Yeah, I think that's an 8 for me. That's probably my highest so far.
Yeah.
I think Archie's got a point. It's a nice one.
It could be pretty dangerous if you get it in the bar with a bit of alcohol.
I still don't think it's going to be on my list of drinks.
No.
It's a step closer.
Yeah.
So, that's our rating. Let us know if you agree or disagree, if there's an energy drink you want us to try, if there's a topic you want us to talk about, And if there's anything that we discussed today that you'd be interested in learning more about, you can speak to anyone on the landlord team, but particularly our security experts. They can give you advice about IoT security, cybersecurity in general, or we can talk to you about other things. One thing that we should definitely mention, I can't believe we forgot to mention this, is obviously landlord services, we do print services.
Yeah.
And those are IoT devices.
Yeah, well, those are IoT devices.
Because you talk a little bit about why with print that's particularly important. Because obviously, in my mind, before you jump in, people send sensitive documents to and from printers.
Yeah. So there's two sides to a printer. One is you actually use the printer as an emailing device. And if that's compromised, you can actually spam a lot of email out. So if the hacker can get into the printer and get a hold of the address book, they can spam your network full of emails and your mailboxes. Sorry, not network. The other side of it is it can be used as a network scanning tool, because a lot of these printers come with their own DHCP mechanism, servers built into them, so you can probably use that as like a rogue printer and get devices to connect to the printer, and then you can actually get into the machines that way. So yes, they are quite a security risk. With that, again, it's down to make sure your firmwares are updated, making sure your admin console panels are passworded properly. Because that being in help desk, we deal with a lot of setting up printers. Like if you look at the bigger multifunctions and that multifunction printers or MFP printers, they come with standard password, and you can find that password on the internet. It's quite easy. So they are high risk and they're easy to get into if the person knows how to do it.
Well, if you get in contact with landlord services, we can deal with your print needs and your cybersecurity needs in one, and you won't have to worry.
There you go, yes.
So we'll leave you with that. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Alistair, for joining me.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Cheers.